Good afternoon. Welcome to Our Lady of Assumption Church. We are pleased to welcome this community gathered in person and those joining us virtually as Assumption University celebrates its 165th anniversary. My name is Mary Heath. I'm an alumna of Assumption University. We respectfully acknowledge that Assumption University resides on the traditional lands of the Three Fires Confederacy, comprised of the Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi. To our guests who are joining us virtually from various areas, we encourage you to honor the land in which you are working and living. Our processional hymn can be found in the Catholic Book of Worship, number 543, All Creatures of Our God and King. The hymn will be followed by the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and welcome the Chancellor's procession. Please be seated. I invite Father Donald MacLeod, Chair of Assumption University's Board of Governors, to offer words of welcome.
Good afternoon. As you just heard, I am Father Don MacLeod, the chair of the Board of Governors of Assumption University, and I've had the pleasure of serving in that capacity for the past 6.5 years. I have the pleasure as well of welcoming today 3 very distinguished citizens of our community who will be honored for their service to Assumption University. Before I introduce them, I would offer a brief reflection on 165 years. Not quite as old as this church, but fairly close. Together, these 2 entities have served Windsor, Essex with what I believe is great distinction for 165 years. It's a good time to remember. But if we only remember, we fail greatly in our responsibility to move ahead. And that is what I suggest this celebration is all about. We recognize the distinguished efforts of many of our citizens in the service of higher education, but we know that there is still much to do if we are to continue to serve higher education and build a better community and a better world for all. Our 3 honorees today have dedicated their lives to that. First, the late Dr. George McMahon, represented today by his widow, Dorothy. Second, Dr. Carl Cohen. And third, Dr. Designate Patricia France. All 3 have served us well and truly for many, many years. In honor of that service, I challenge all of us this day to consider what we must do not only in the past, not only today, but most importantly, in the years to come. Not just a few years, and not just another 160, and not just another 165. But into the far distant future. Thank you for your attendance today, and I want to offer my particular congratulations to our 3 honorees this afternoon.
Thank you, Father Don. I invite your worship, Mayor Drew Dilkins, Mayor of the City of Windsor, to offer greetings on behalf of the city.
Well, good afternoon. It's certainly an honor to be here with all of you today, side by side in this wonderful parish, and I'm pleased to extend my best wishes to all of the faculty, all of the staff, and all of the students of Assumption University as we gather to celebrate the milestone 165th anniversary as a Roman Catholic Institute of Higher Learning. This venerable institution was founded as Assumption College in 1857 and was informed by the Brazilian tradition. Those who enter its halls are encouraged to empower individuals to cultivate goodness in themselves and in others, to embody discipline in their path towards excellence, and to recognize the importance of continuously pursuing knowledge throughout their lives. Goodness, discipline, knowledge. Assumption University is a pillar of the community and certainly the center of Catholic higher education in Southern Ontario. This goal is evident through your courses, your campus ministry, and your outreach work. Your values are evident through the diversification of your lifelong learning opportunities, your commitment to advancing interfaith dialogue, and the programs and events you provide to the community year-round. Assumption University is committed to serving the church and society, locally, nationally, and internationally, with a focus on responding to present-day needs of the community. and of course to charting exciting and innovative new programs and courses in education. I have said many, many times, and I'll say it again, that faith communities and educational institutions based around faith and its principles have always been a source of strength, of hope, of prosperity, and of enlightenment. Over the course of the pandemic, these communities have provided many with a sense of unity and closeness, even as we've been required to stay apart. In being federated with the University of Windsor, you adapted to online learning and services and took innovative steps to help your community stay connected to one another, to their studies, and most importantly, to their faith during truly challenging and uncertain times. You provided light during darkness. And now, we gather at Our Lady of Assumption Church to celebrate your milestone 165th year. At over 250 years of age, Assumption Church is the oldest continuing parish in Canada west of Quebec, and certainly a community unto itself. The parish and the university share history. They share land, they share members, values, goals, and traditions, and they share a spirit of generosity. Both institutions are iconic spaces of solitude and togetherness, of learning and vision, and we're blessed to have you here in our community. To those being honored today, both in person and in memory, Patricia France, Carl Cohen, and George McMahon, congratulations on this well-earned recognition. And to everyone gathered here today to celebrate, thank you. Thank you for being here. It's good to be with you. It's good to share faith and fellowship. And on behalf of the City of Windsor, congratulations on 165 years of Assumption University.
Thank you, Your Worship, for those kind words. Our celebration continues now with the Liturgy of the Word. Your Excellency, Bishop Ronald Fabbro.
I would invite Dr. Mary Jo Nolan to come forward to proclaim the first reading.
A reading from the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 29, verses 11 to 14. For I know well the plans I have in mind for you, oracle of the Lord, plans for your welfare and not for woe, so as to give you a future of hope. When you call me and come and pray to me, I will listen to you. When you look for me, you will find me. Yes, when you seek me with all your heart, I will let you find me, oracle of the Lord, and I will change your lot. I will gather you together from all the nations and all the places to which I have banished you, oracle of the Lord, and bring you back to the place from which I have exiled you. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
Stand firm like the earth. judgments they stand firm to this day. For all things are your servants. Your word, Lord, stands forever. The revelation of your word sheds light, gives understanding to the simple. Your word, Lord, stands forever. Let your face shine upon your servant. Teach me your statutes. Your word, Lord, stands forever. Let my soul live to praise you. May your judgments give me help. Your word, Lord, stands forever.
I invite Dr. Pat Soulier to proclaim the second reading.
A reading from the letter of St. James. What good is it, my brothers, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can that faith save him? If a brother or sister has nothing to wear and has no food for the day, and one of you says to them, "Go in peace, keep warm, and eat well," but you do not give them the necessities of the body, what good is it? So also faith in itself, if it does not have works, is dead. Indeed, someone may say, "You have faith, and I have works. Demonstrate your faith to me without works, and I will demonstrate my faith to you from my works." The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
Lord, give the breath upon your lips that you may proclaim this gospel with faith and love in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Oh, teach all my people my gospel. I am with you always until the end of the age.
Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
The 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain to which Jesus had ordered them. When they saw him, they worshipped, but they doubted. Then Jesus approached and said to them, "All power in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you always until the end of the age." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
As Chancellor of Assumption University, I now formally declare this convocation ceremony open.
I now invite Mrs. Dorothy McMahon to please come forward. The 165th Anniversary Jubilee Medal is awarded to an individual who, over the span of a lifetime, has embodied the principles of goodness, discipline, and knowledge. There is one and only one person who qualifies for this award, and that is the late Dr. George McMahon Sr. In 1952, a young George entered Assumption College, beginning a relationship that would last the better part of 7 decades. In 1956, George graduated from the recently renamed Assumption University with a Bachelor of Arts in History, receiving the gold medal for obtaining the highest grade in the subject, coincidentally from my legendary predecessor, Father Eugene Carlisle LeBel. He continued his studies at Queen's University in Kingston, earning a Master's of Arts in History and shortly becoming a teacher at Assumption and Commerce High Schools in Windsor. In 1963, George began his 33-year-long career at the University of Windsor, serving as a professor, dean of students, assistant vice president, student services, and assistant vice president of alumni affairs. For his contributions to education, Dr. McMahon received several Commonwealth awards, including the 1967 Centennial Medal, the 125th Anniversary of Canada Medal, the Queen's Golden Jubilee Medal, and the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal. He was also presented with the Distinguished Service Award from the Air Cadet League of Canada, given his military service and support for the Air Cadets. In 2002, George was named to the Sovereign Military Order of the Temple of Jerusalem. After retiring, George volunteered his time with his alma mater, serving as co-chair of Assumption University's Alumni Committee. Together with his classmate, Mrs. Marie Reno, George helped to organize countless events, reconnect with alumni, and build bridges with the community that he loved. Arguably, one of the most lasting contributions to Assumption University is his 4 books, chronicling in precise detail the history of our beloved institution. And on a personal note, for this unworthy principal, these books have provided me with key historical background and a thorough education. In a sense, George was my last professor. For his service to Assumption and the community, George is the only person in the history of Assumption University, and as you know that's a long history, to receive the Triple Crown, consisting of the Father LeBel Award, the Christian Culture Series Gold Medal, and an honorary doctorate. In addition to his countless accolades, George was the loving husband of Mrs. Dorothy McMahon, the proud father of 11 children, 2 stepchildren, 29 grandchildren, 16 great-grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. Talk about a devout Catholic. On the 70th anniversary of George's entry to Assumption College and nearly 7 decades of unwavering service, scholarship, and friendship, Assumption University is pleased to confer the 165th Anniversary Jubilee Medal on the late Dr. George McMahon through his beloved wife, Dorothy. Before this award is presented to Mrs. McMahon in honor of George, I ask our Chancellor and Bishop to impart his special blessing on the medal, and I'll ask him to do that right now.
Chancellor Fabbro, Chair of the Board, Father MacLeod, Principal Capucci, members of the Board, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am extremely honored and proud to accept the 165th Anniversary Jubilee Medal on behalf of my husband, George McMahon, a 1956 graduate of Assumption University. I know George would have been deeply moved and humbled to receive this award. In fact, I truly believe he is smiling down upon us right now and watching closely to see if strict protocol is being followed. After all, he was Windsor's Convocation Marshal for nearly 30 years. George's long-term affiliation with Assumption University and the Basilian priests taught him goodness, discipline, and knowledge, which served him well throughout his life and his career, not only in his role as father to his 11 children, but also as a teacher and administrator. He was beloved and respected by both students and staff. When late president of the university, Dr. Ron Ianni, asked George to write the history of the university, he dove into that project with pure zeal. So his retirement years began with research, writing, golf, research, writing, golf, and more golf. So his retirement years, he told me he loved the research part of being an author, the writing not so much. However, he had this wonderful ability to bring the story of Assumption to life. His memory and ability for recall was exceptional. So beginning immediately upon retirement, most days were spent in the Assumption archives. This was his happy place. In 2004, he became involved in reestablishing the Assumption University Alumni Association and created the Windsor chapter, as Dr. Capucci pointed out. The committee planned Christmas and Valentine receptions, suppers for the Catholic University students at Thanksgiving, Christmas, and at year-end, a successful reunion in May 2006, attended by 65 alumni from Windsor, Detroit, Toronto, and other locations. George was energized and enthusiastic. It was around this time in 2006 that the very first early symptoms of cognitive impairment began to appear on and off. It is truly remarkable that he was able to write his final book on E.C. LeBel and the creation of the University of Windsor. Of the many awards, recognition, and accolades conferred upon George by Assumption University, I believe he would have been most proud to receive this, the 165th Anniversary Jubilee Medal. On behalf of the McMahon and Awad families, I extend heartfelt thanks and appreciation to Chancellor Fabbro, the Board of Governors, and Dr. John Capucci for bestowing this distinguished honor upon our beloved George. Thanks so much to my daughter, Gina Dixon, also my niece, Anita Kalea, who is visiting us from California and came specifically for these events. Unfortunately, my daughter, Elena, was not able to attend as she's sick. Thanks also to Dan and Lori, George's son, Debbie McMahon, and Nancy McMahon, for joining me today. And I see that Mark is also here. Thank you. Finally, I am delighted to offer sincere congratulations to Dr. Patricia France and Dr. Carl Cohen. Thank you.
I now invite Dr. Carl Cohen to please come forward. The Father Eugene Carlisle LeBel Award is named in honor of a remarkable Catholic priest, educator, and last president of Assumption College, first president of Assumption University, and the first president of the newly established University of Windsor in 1963. He was a lot more active than I was. The award is unique, as it is neither decided by a committee nor are nominations accepted. Instead, it is presented by special order of the principal to an individual who has rendered outstanding service to Assumption University and the community of Windsor, Essex. And it is not necessarily awarded annually. In fact, in the last decade, it has only been conferred once before today. The newest recipient of the LeBel Award is Dr. Carl Cohen. Carl Cohen was born and raised in Windsor. He is a graduate of McGill University's BCom program and obtained his LLB from Osgoode Hall Law School. He is also involved in a family business in Windsor, Merchants Paper Company, where he served as president and now serves as chair of the board. Despite his busy legal and business careers, Carl has always worked to give back to the city of his birth. He has been president of B'nai B'rith Lodge, Windsor, Congregation Temple Bethel, and the Jewish National Fund of Windsor. He is a board director at Maryvale in Windsor and an active member of the Rotary Club in Windsor 1918, where he served as past chair of the Membership and Children's Assistant Committees. In 2008, he received an honorary doctorate from Assumption University. He is a recipient of the Negev Award from the Jewish National Fund and received a Queen's Counsel appointment in 1979. I first met Carl before the beginning of the pandemic, and as a Green principal, I was calling our alumni to introduce myself. Carl was generous with his time and shared his wonderful experiences at Assumption College. To be honest, I was surprised at the impact our humble institution had made on Carl and many alumni like him. He told me how Assumption has changed his life for the better and helped to shape him in the man that he is today. Since my term in office began nearly 3 years ago, Carl has always been willing to assist Assumption in any way possible, whether it's helping Assumption deliver our annual social justice series, or offering guidance, or even just providing a friendly ear to this unworthy servant. After speaking with my fellow Windsorites about the amazing work Carl has done for the past half a century, I reflected on a word that accurately defines Carl. In Hebrew, the word is tzaddik, which is a righteous person who strives constantly for justice, performs countless good deeds, and works tirelessly to make the world a better place. A tzaddik is not interested in accolades, recognition, or wealth. Instead, a tzaddik strives for tikkun olam, which means healing the world. Carl is much too humble to assume this title, but it is nevertheless deserving. Given his exceptional services to Assumption University and the Windsor-Essex community with his time, talents, and treasures, it is my honor to confer the Father Eugene Carlisle LeBel CSB Award on Dr. Carl Cohen with all the rights, honors, and privileges heretofore. I'm going to get the award. Congratulations, Carl. Thank you. If you want to take a picture, I don't know. Do you want to take a picture of your family? Show them the award. Sure. Okay, let's take a picture. Okay. You want to offer your speech? Sure. Okay.
Your Excellency Bishop Fabbro, Father Story, Dr. Capucci, Mayor Dilkins, distinguished honorees and guests. It is a great honor for me to be here today and to receive the Reverend Carlisle LeBel CSB Award. Not only is this a special event for me, but I was a student at Assumption University when Father LeBel was here. In addition, it also gives me a chance to reflect on my relationship with Assumption University, which will, in September of this year, span a period of some 68 years. I remember the day that I first walked into Assumption University to start my university education. I came to register for first year. I didn't know anyone and I didn't know what to do. I was told to sit in alphabetical order and was shown where to sit. I found my seat and sat down. At that time, Assumption University had a relatively small student body. Another student came in the row and sat next to me. I didn't know him, so we introduced ourselves to each other. This was the very first person that I met at Assumption University, but it was a pivotal event for me. His name was Gabriel Curry. We became friends and remain so to this day. I also met a large number of students here, and many of them are still my friends, but two others in particular were in that class and were also very important to me. One being Leon Peroyan, and the other being Alan Houston. Throughout my time here at Assumption, the four of us were very close, but I had no idea what was in store. Following my time at Assumption and my graduation, I applied to Osgoode Hall Law School and was enrolled there. On the first day at law school, I ran into Gabriel Curry and Leon Peroyan, who were also enrolled there, and we continued our friendship for the 3 years following and during the bar admissions course in Toronto. The three of us returned to Windsor to practice law. Alan Houston, who had gone to a different law school, also came to Windsor to practice, and thereafter the four of us joined together to practice law, and we were together for nearly 40 years. We were a very diverse group from different backgrounds and different religions, but we got along as if we were brothers. That would never have happened if we had not been at Assumption. With the exception of my time away at school, I have continued to live in Windsor and have been able to maintain the friendships that were created here. I have been blessed with a wonderful family, wonderful friends, and wonderful business associates. I am grateful for all of that. On a personal note, I too would wish to congratulate Dr. Patricia France on her receiving a degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, and to congratulate Mrs. Dorothy McMahon on her receiving the 165th Anniversary Jubilee Medal in memory of the late Dr. George McMahon Sr. I am proud of my almost 68-year relationship with Assumption University, and I hope that it will continue for many years to come. While I was here at Assumption, it was like a second home to me. I just want to say that it's wonderful to be home again. Thank you.
Congratulations, Colin.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Want me to take that now? Or?
Sure. Did you want me to help you back down?
No, I can do it. I didn't see the stair coming
Oh,
up.
I know. There's a lot of stairs. Okay, congratulations again.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Cohen. I now invite Ms. Patricia France to please come forward. My Most Reverend Chancellor, it is my privilege to present to you Ms. Patricia Patty France. Patty France is a pillar of the Windsor-Essex community, making outstanding contributions to higher education over her many distinguished long career. In 2015, Patty became the 6th president of St. Clair College and the first woman to take on the role since the college's founding in 1966. Patty's journey to the presidency was preceded by 35 years of hard work in the post-secondary sector. She obtained a diploma in computer programming in 1994, further opening the path for women in the sciences and STEM. She continued her education at Brock University, receiving a Bachelor's of Adult Education, followed by a Master's of Adult Education from our sister school, St. Francis Xavier University in Nova Scotia. In her career at St. Clair, Patty has led several departments, including the Registrar's Office, Human Resources, Student Services, Information Technology Services, Health and Safety, and Facilities Management. Prior to her appointment as president, Patty served as Senior Vice President Operations for over a decade. As president, Patty has transformed St. Clair College into one of the leading colleges in this province. With historic investments in infrastructure and construction of new buildings, record-setting student enrollment, strong connections with industry, and the establishment of new degree programs, Patty has ensured the college's legacy well into the future. And on a personal note, if you were to visit St. Clair College today, one might not recognize it, and one might even get lost, requiring the assistance of a vice president who's here today. Through her leadership, Patty has emphasized the community in community college. St. Clair has hosted the Polar Bear Plunge for the past half-decade, nearly raising $250,000 for Special Olympics. St. Clair has also been instrumental in supporting food banks, blood drives, and other worthy causes in the community. Recently, when Windsor-Essex was in one of its most desperate hours, arguably since the Second World War, Patty offered the resources of St. Clair's state-of-the-art sportsplex. In 2020, at the height of the pandemic, St. Clair College's sportsplex was converted into a 100-bed field hospital to treat those suffering from COVID-19. If that wasn't enough, later that year, the sportsplex was converted again, this time into a mass vaccination center. And I should note that St. Clair's sportsplex provided over 750,000 vaccines to hundreds of thousands of people in this community. Despite her busy schedule, Patty has served on numerous boards in the community, including the Windsor Regional Hospital Board, Windsor Family Credit Union, Windsor-Essex Compassionate Coalition, the United Way of Windsor-Essex County. Patty also received the Athena Award in 2017, the Paul Harris Award from the Rotary Club in 2000. She is a warm and energetic person who is dedicated to her work, even responding to emails at 10 o'clock at night from an unnamed principal. Given Patty's role as a champion of higher education, a leader in Windsor-Essex, supporter of countless community organizations and causes, and a living testament to the importance of hard work, this honorary doctorate is not only in order, but in my opinion, long overdue. Reverend Chancellor and Bishop Fabbro, as Principal and Vice Chancellor, and on behalf of the Board of Governors and Senate of Assumption University, I request that you confer the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, on Patricia France for outstanding contributions to education in Windsor and Essex County.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the laws of the Province of Ontario and upon the recommendation of the Board of Governors of Assumption University, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and honors here and elsewhere thereto appertaining.
And it is my pleasure for the first time to invite Dr. Patty France to address convocation.
Thank you. Your Excellency Bishop Fabbro, Princeler and Vice Chancellor Dr. Capucci, distinguished clergy, board members, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not much of a sports fan, but one athletic story perfectly describes my reaction to this tremendous and unexpected honor. When Bubba Watson won his first Masters in 2012, he was asked in the television interview afterwards if he had ever imagined winning the famous golf tournament. The emotional Watson stared at the camera, searching for words, and through his tears said, "No, I never got this far in my dreams." That accurately reflects how deeply touched I was when Assumption University announced this honor for me, and it is still how I feel today, amazed, grateful, and tremendously humbled. Many of you know my rather unusual professional background, that when I was named to St. Clair's president in 2015, I was one of the few college presidents in Canada who had actually graduated from that post-secondary educational system. Yes, I did eventually acquire university degrees in adult education, but throughout more than half of my climb up the administrative ladder, it was with just a college diploma in hand. From one job to the next one, from one professional challenge to the next, during the series of promotions that eventually led me to the presidency and to this wonderful honor today, I've had occasion to look back upon that young woman holding the college diploma. And as I paused upon all of those stepping stones and ladder stages along the way, I often had the mindset to utter the same comment: I never got this far in my dreams. But this explains it all. Dreams and aspirations are made real by what I am being recognized for today: the availability of higher education in our community. It is my belief, and it is the shared belief of everyone here, that education is not a helpful tool for economic advancement, but also, and more importantly, is an essential element of social betterment. That is especially true when it is energetically and deliberately practiced as lifelong learning. I have been blessed, truly, truly blessed, to have spent a career surrounded by colleagues at St. Clair College and at other institutions, Assumption and the University of Windsor included, who know that to be true, who have made it their life's work to promote the value of education, and who have sought to make it affordable and accessible for all who seek it. To all my fellow education advocates, I accept this honor on your behalf as well, and I thank you for your commitment to students, past, present, and future. From a college diploma in computer programming to eventually a bachelor's and then a master's degree in adult education, to a series of administrative positions culminating in a college presidency, to today, an honorary doctorate. No, indeed, I never got this far in my dreams. Yet remarkably, those unimaginable dreams have come true. I'm humbled by your generosity, and I will strive to live up to the honor that Assumption University has bestowed upon me by means of my continued promotion of education in our community. Thank you.
I now declare this convocation ceremony closed.
Your Excellency, Bishop Fabbro, Father Story, Your Worship, Mayor Dilkins, Father MacLeod, members of the Board of Governors, members of the Senate, Dr. Cohen, Dr. France, Mrs. McMahon and families, Dr. Drake, Dr. King, fellow past and current principals and presidents, honorary doctors, dear alumni, benefactors, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. 165 years. This celebration has been in the works for 2 years, and words cannot help to express the gratitude that I feel for all those that made this day a reality. I thank our Bishop and Chancellor, Bishop RonaldPeter Fabbro, for presiding over today's ceremony and his constant support of Assumption University. I also thank his assistant, Mrs. Marilyn Hassel, for accommodating our schedule today. We appreciate Father Story for journeying to be with us this afternoon and conveying the kind words of the entire congregation of St. Basil as you read in your programs. Your Worship, Mayor Dilkins, we appreciate your presence and the show of solidarity from the city of Windsor. We are grateful to Father Stephen Huber, Father Maurice Restivo, Father Leo Walsh, Father Jim O'Neill for welcoming us into this magnificent church. And a special thanks to Kevin McQuaid Jr. and Mr. Owen Walter for helping us set up today. I thank all those who participated in today's service, including Mrs. Mary Heath, for her introductory words, Her Honor, Dr. Mary Jo Nolan, Dr. Pat Soulier, for reading the scriptures, and of course our beadle, Mr. Brandon Bernardin, for leading the procession. We are also fortunate to enjoy the sublime musical talents of our soloist, Dr. Adam Iannetta, and our organist, Mr. Michael Ricketts. Your services together have elevated this ceremony in a way that benefits the historic institution of higher learning that we are celebrating. I am overwhelmed by the number of congratulatory letters that we receive from friends across the country. The diversity of these letters demonstrates the level of admiration for Assumption University, along with its prominent reputation. On the note of the letters, I thank Families First for kindly printing the programs as a gift, free of charge. Truly, they are a pillar in the Windsor-Essex community for constantly supporting organizations like ours. To the honorees, Dr. France, Dr. Cohen, Dr. George McMahon, and Mrs. McMahon, each of you exemplify Assumption's motto of teaching goodness, discipline, and knowledge. May your examples inspire future generations to be mindful of the needs of others and supportive of their communities. I also express my gratitude to Mr. John Fairley. There are 2 people in this world that call me brother, my actual biological brother and Mr. John Fairley. John does whatever he can to help the citizens of Windsor-Essex County and, of course, St. Clair College. We're all indebted to his kindness. And on the note of indebtedness, we are also indebted to St. Clair College's Center for the Arts for catering the reception after the ceremony. And I'm sure many of you are eager to sample some of their culinary delights and perhaps maybe a spirituous beverage. Our celebration committee and staff need to be commended for putting in countless hours to ensure that today's event was worthy of the history books. I applaud our committee members, including Moira Belmore, Cecile Bertrand-Scory, Marion Fentetti, Jessica Lemon, Father Paul McGill, Father Don McLeod, Dr. Jackie Stangner, all for their hard work that they have demonstrated in the past 2 years. And I'd like to especially commend Mrs. Cecile Bertrand-Scory for her leadership in organizing the celebration, her very close attention to detail, and her saint-like patience, particularly with dealing with a certain principal who shall remain nameless, of course. Lastly, in addition to Assumption's Jubilee today, we have another reason to celebrate. One of our most distinguished alumni and his lovely bride are marking 65 years of marriage today. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Gerald and Mrs. Miriam Freed on their sapphire anniversary. Dr. Freed, your son had a hand in this, by the way, so just FYI. We extend warm wishes to the Freed and Norman families and thank them for their steadfast support over the years. And I'm sure Dr. Freed will be getting Mrs. Freed a nice sapphire ring today in honor of this occasion. The final question that remains on everyone's mind this afternoon is, what is the secret to Assumption University's longevity? There are few universities in Canada that can say they are 165 years old. There's an ancient proverb that explains a society will go great when the first generation plants seeds, knowing full well they will never have the opportunity to sit underneath its branches or enjoy of its fruit. We are here today because 165 years ago, a group of individuals planted seeds for an institute of higher learning. It is not only the founders of Assumption that have this selfless mentality, but all the generations of students, staff, faculty, and administrators that followed in the course of these 165 years. Without them, we would not be celebrating this momentous milestone. And this time-honored legacy of thinking about others, not oneself, has inspired me. Like the founders of Assumption University, I was fortunate enough to have two grandfathers, Giovanni Capucci and Pasquale Minotti, both of blessed memory, who planted seeds hoping that their children and grandchildren will one day enjoy the fruits of their labor. Like the founders of Assumption University, both were known for their unwavering faith, resolute work ethic, and dedication to building something greater for the future. They too have inspired me. As a tribute to these two gentlemen, and to follow in the footsteps of Assumption University's founders, and to forever tie myself to this great institution, I wish to sow two seeds on this most auspicious occasion. In honor of my grandfathers and to mark the 165th legacy of Assumption University, I have a small gift to present in the form of the establishment of two new scholarships to be housed at Assumption University, namely the Capucci Scholarship in Christian Studies and the Minotti Scholarship in Christian Studies. I ask Bishop Fabbro and Father Story to come forward. To establish these two scholarships, I present two checks in the amount of $10,000 each. It has been the honor of my life to serve as the principal of Assumption University, and I wish it to continue to succeed. May we continue go from strength to strength under the protection of our Blessed Mother and, of course, our Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you very much.
On this happy occasion, we are really pleased to be able to present a papal blessing to Dr. Capucci for Assumption University on the occasion of the 165th anniversary of the university. As you know, Pope Francis we're planning for his coming to Canada the end of July. Unfortunately, he's not coming to Windsor, and he said, Bishop, if you present this blessing for me to Assumption University. So I'll get this blessing. Yeah. I'm really pleased to be with you today to offer my sincere congratulations to our honorees, those recipients of the degrees and awards that we've just witnessed this afternoon. Wonderful tribute to Assumption University on this occasion. And so I would also like to express to Dr. Capucci my congratulations on the 165th anniversary of Assumption University. Assumption University, over those years, has been made an important contribution to the Windsor-Essex community. It's really been a remarkable. Assumption University has been part of the tradition of Windsor-Essex. I think many of our leaders in our parishes were educated here at Assumption. When we look at the Christian Culture Awards, the contribution to our lay people and our pew, to the whole community, it's really been remarkable. The work that Assumption University has done in its witness to its mission of Catholic education. Our first reading from this Hebrew scriptures from the prophet Jeremiah gives God's plan for his people. The Jewish people were in exile. The Jewish people were suffering. And the prophet Jeremiah says that God has a plan. It's a plan to embrace a future full of hope. And for 165 years, that has been the witness here in Windsor-Essex of Assumption University. It's been a witness to build a society that's based on the dignity of every human person, where every one of us, all our brothers and sisters, of faith traditions, of no faith tradition at all, we're all brothers and sisters. And that future full of hope is when every one of us feels welcome and included and belonging to the society in which we live. That's the witness of Assumption University over these years. It's been a powerful witness to this community. You'll notice that it's our 165th anniversary, one of the longest of Catholic universities in Canada. But I think Dr. Capucci is really seeing this as a preparation for the 200th anniversary of Assumption University. So we'll all be back here in a few years celebrating 200 years of this great institution. And today I would like to express my deep gratitude to the Basilian Fathers who've been so much a part of that, and to express to Father Kevin Story, the Superior General of the Basilians, how much we need the Basilians here at Assumption University as we look to the future. So thank you very much to the Basilian Fathers, Kevin. And a thank you to the lay people who have supported the mission of Assumption University. Assumption could not have been what it has achieved today without many lay people who have believed in the mission of Assumption and have contributed to it. So to the ongoing commitment to Assumption University as we look forward to the 200th anniversary. God bless all of you. The blessing, I need my book. On this special occasion, I'd ask you to stand for the final blessing. Glory to you, O God, in the entrance to eternal life of the ever-blessed Virgin Mary. Through her intercession, may we live the gospel of her Son with constancy and love. Under her patronage, may Assumption University continue the work of its founders and remain faithful to its mission to teach goodness, discipline, and knowledge. We ask that you guide, strengthen, and illuminate all those who serve and support Assumption University, an institution named in honor of your Blessed Mother. And may the blessing of Almighty God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit descend upon you and remain with you forever.
Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, there's a tent to the left as you go out, and as John mentioned earlier, there is a lovely catered reception.